Welcome to my fresh POV. I love the Twin Cities and everything it has to offer. I'm Dan Pelé, your news and event editor. As a new Minnesotan, I never personally have been to the Minnesota History Center. It had almost been a year since I arrived and still hadn't made the time to go. So I was very excited that my next event to write about would be there. Upon arriving, I purchased a book of the event from the gift shop and read the introduction. I also browsed the gallery and exhibits to pass the time before settling in for the main event. As I was one of the first to arrive to the auditorium, I decided to sit close to the podium and stage like an earnest college student would for their favorite professor and subject matter. This would be the place where I learned more Black history that I didn't already know. The coordinator for the event gave some great information about the center and its other events, and afterwards introduced the talented writer and speaker for the evening, JoJo. Jokeda is the author of the book, Red Stain, The Life of Hilda Simms. I found the introduction of the book to be well written and was eager to dive into the rest later. However, I was also impressed to find that her first book is also a Minnesota Book Award finalist. Jokeda is also the Executive Director of Exhibitions and Programming for the African American Interpretive Center of Minnesota. Jokeda is also a PhD candidate in the History Department at the University of Minnesota and has an extensive record of accomplishments and accolades that make her such a prominent leader and inspiration. With her small frame and majestic crown of hair, she approached the podium and began taking the audience on a detailed, wondrous journey when it came to her research, findings, and the life of the untold story of Hilda Simms. Jokeda began to pontificate so poignantly and profoundly, not only Hilda's beginnings in Minneapolis and her sprouting involvement in the Phyllis Wheatley Center, but also her journey to Broadway in New York and beyond. Hilda was a trailblazer who struggled courageously, tenaciously, and fiercely through her career, not only fighting for her rights, but also finding ways to speak out for others. Jokeda, through speaking, painted a very vivid picture of Hilda Simms finding her way in a world and time where Black men and women had to move mountains, professionally, financially, etc., to be seen, respected, and taken seriously in the field of theater, drama, and entertainment. Jokeda mentioned how Hilda's life was investigated by the FBI because they found her work and what she had advocated for to be subversive and too left-leaning for the capitalist society we live in. She went into saying how her research and information collection on Hilda had been a long process as far as getting some information from National Archive being an uphill battle, where she is still waiting on a response release of those documents. I found this to be particularly inspiring as she didn't let this halt her information gathering and book writing process. To look for a book on a person or subject matter and not find one would be the end of the road for most, but not for Jokeda. Jokeda, in her own way, not seeing a path, carved one of her own to tell the untold story of an African-American woman pioneer, adding to the richness of Black contributions to Minnesota's history and the world's. Jokeda's verbal presentation followed with a quick Q&A and book signing. I was satisfied on a soul level to know that barriers are still being broken down and untold stories like Hilda Simms are finding new ways to breathe, exist, and thrive in a world which otherwise would forget. May we all follow Jokeda's lead and be an advocate for people, things, stories, and subject matters we find ourselves inspired and passionate about. Thank you for sharing in my journey of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We look forward to seeing you in the comments.